All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm working on the CSEC January 2024. All right, so let us take a look at question one here. And it reads, expressed as a single fraction in its simplest form. So what we have is 1 minus, in bracket, 130 plus 415. Well, what we're going to do is simply to focus on the part that is in the bracket first, right? So we could just take our time and work out this, which is, so put it on the side, we have 1 over 30 plus 4 over 15. I could represent 4 over 15 of 30, which means I could multiply the top and the bottom by 2. Hence, I really have 130 plus 8 over 30. I'm doing that so that I could have the same denominator here so that we could easily just ease into it. This is going to give me 9 over 30. So basically what we really have is 1 minus 9 over 30. Remember now, if I want to keep that denominator of 30, I could actually convert 1 and represent it using a denominator of 30, which means I could represent it as 30 over 30, which is still 1. So let us subtract 9 over 30 from this. So this is going to give me 30 minus 9 is going to give me 21 over 30. Be careful, the question actually said that we need to put this in its simplest form. So in its simplest form, we could divide this by 3, I'll get 7. Divide this by 3, I'll get 10. My final answer is 7/10, right? So we could call it the 3 marks just for that. A 2-story car park has a total of 1,020 parking spaces at 6:30 hours. 130, all right, which is this right here. 130 of the 1,020 spaces are filled. During the next hour, no car left the car park, but another 4 over 15 of the 1,020 spaces are filled. Determine the number of parking spaces that are not, which is key here, not filled. So basically what we want to do is to put together the spaces that are filled, which is 130 plus 415. These are the spaces that were filled during that time. All right, so if they want to find not filled, I'm going to have to add these two together, and then the result must be taken from 1. So I'll take this from 1. But when I look back at this question right here, this working out, it does remind us of this problem that we just did here, which means that the result of that is already 7/10. So with this said, this is going to give us a 7/10. So remember though that this here had to be 3/10, right? What is this? This is the part that was filled. And when we took that from 1, we're left with not filled, all right? Which would have been 7/10 as a fraction. So to find the number of spaces, we're going to have to put 7/10. We're just going to work out 7/10 of this. So if we should work out 7/10 of 1,020, right? That should take us to the answer. And we're getting 714. So we'll have a total of 714 parking spaces that were not filled at that time. So it says here, of the 1,020 parking spaces, 20% are on the top level, right? How many parking spaces are on the top level? So 20%. So we simply will be finding 20% of 1,020. So it is simply representing 20 out of 100, and we're going to multiply this by 1,020. All right, so we just want to quickly work this out. And we're getting about 2 204. Right? So we have 204 spaces were at the top parking. All right, D part says here, some of the spaces are reserved, right, for monthly paying customers. The ratio of reserve to non-reserve is 5-7. All right, so we have a ratio of 5-7, and this is going for reserve, right, reserve, and those that are not reserved, right, so this is it. So we want to make note of everything, right? So calculate the number of non-reserved parking space. So we're talking about representing this, the total. If we should add this, we're getting 12, right? So the 5 plus the 7, that's 12. So we want to represent 7 out of the 12, right? And we want to multiply this by 1020. So this would have been non-reserve, right? The 7. So it's 7 out of a total of 12. And then we could simply work this out, right? So 7, 12, and we're getting 595, right? Parking spaces were not reserved, right? So these are non-reserved. All right. This one says the cost of parking at the car park is shown in the table. So here's a table showing the list, the length of the visit. So we have under 30 minutes and so on. So we want to take time to read this, right? And then we have a 1-week ticket here for $40. So what we want to do now, so here we have a list, and then we have the cost over here for everything. So we want to take a look at what the question is about, and then we're going to go back to it. So it says, Michaela leave the car park at 18:30. So Michaela leave the car park at 18:30 right here. So we're looking at that. All right, so we could say that Michaela left at this time, 18:30. All right, and pays $9.25, determining the earliest. So this is the key word here, earliest time she could have arrived. Now, what we want to do is to take a look in the column to see which one of those rows or time would have linked to $9.25. So when we look, we'll see $9.25 here. So she paid this because she was there for between 4 to 8 hours, right? Now, the question says, what's the earliest time she could have gone there? So in order to find the earliest time, you want to focus on the biggest number here and subtract it from your 18:30, right? So the biggest number here, the longest stay would have been 8 hours. So if I subtract 8 from this, it's going to show me that the earliest that she could have gone there would have been a 10:30 a.m., right? So 10:30 a.m. would have been the earliest she could have gone there. That means if she had showed up 10:30 and spent all of 8 hours, it's going to come up to 18:30, which would have cost this still, right? So 10:30 a.m. is the time that she could have gone there the earliest. All right, let's look at this part. So this part, Sunraj bought a weekly parking ticket for $40. That week, he visited the car park 5 different times. Want to make note. The length of time he parked his car on each occasion is shown below. All right, so we have the times here, as you could see, right? Now we want to, so they said, show that Donraj saved $8.50 by buying the weekly. So all it takes, then we're going to have to match back these time to see, you know, how much money it would have cost, find the total, and then we'll see the difference. So let's take a look. First day was 25 minutes. So we want to look. 25 minutes would have fell under 30, and that would have been free. So this wouldn't have cost. This is free. 7.5 hours would have fell in the category. 7.5 would have fell in the category of 4 to 8. So this is a $9.25 for that time, $9.25. So this is a $9.25. 11 hours, 11 hours would have fell in the 8 to 24 hours right here, and that's a $15. 8 3/4 of an hour is in this same category here, which is the $15 again. 8 hours would have landed in this category, which is the $9.25. All right, so that's $9.25. So what we want to do is to add up this money. We're going to sum this up quickly and see what goes on. Let's go. So we're talking about $9.25 plus 15 plus 15 plus 9.25. And we got, so when we add this up, this is $48.50. So what we're going to do now to look at the $40 that he spent for the week. So the weekly pass was for $40. So as you could see, if you subtract here, we're getting our $8.50. And this would have been the money that he saved that they asked us to prove. So yes, as you could see, you put that together, and basically that's that.